Drawn by Edie Burrows, Detective Comics number 939 is the fifth installment in James Tynion and the Fort's Rise of the Batmen story arc. Batman and his team have been attacked by the Colony, a militia of Bat-inspired mercenaries armed with copycat Bat tech. Under the direct command of Batwoman's father, Jacob Kane, the Colony kidnapped Batman and laid siege to the Belfry. The Bat family have aided in the rescue of Batman and taken back the Belfry just in time to learn of Kane's backup plan. He sent a fleet of drones to attack specific targets that will result in hundreds of innocent deaths and massive collateral damage. It's a race against time to evacuate the innocents, destroy the drones, or reroute them, and one member of the Bat family is going to make the ultimate sacrifice in order to save Gotham. Tynion's focus in this issue is twofold, in that we delve deeper into the relationship of Batman and Batwoman, and we also explore the romance of Stephanie and Tim. Both relationships fuel the overall narrative, bolstering Kate Kane's anger with her father, and giving us an emotional tie to Red Robin right before he puts his life on the line. This book is extremely well written. While every character gets a chance to shine, the main story arc is well paced and remains interesting. The art here is solid as well. The team made a few really dynamic layout choices which really pay off, and while I can nitpick a few of Burrows' panels, this book is full of iconic images of Batman and company that overpower any negatives. Detective Comics remains my favorite Bat book at current, and this storyline is absolutely killing it. One more issue, I believe, until this storyline is wrapped up and we get into Night of the Monster Men, so this book has me hooked for issue number 6. Hoping that Tim Drake stays alive. Keeping my fingers crossed. I'm giving Detective Comics 939 a 4.5 out of 5. Written by Robbie Thompson with art by Gerardo Sandoval, Venom Space Knight number 11 is the Civil War II tie-in for this spacefaring Flash Thompson Venom story. On a quest to cleanse his symbiote of all of its villainous tendencies, Flash Thompson has traversed the far reaches of the cosmos. He now finds himself back on Earth after joining the Guardians to support Captain Marvel in the Civil War II conflict. Earth is the last place he wants to be, but also his best lead in cleansing the symbiote. It's not long before his search is interrupted by Spider-Man, and a miscommunication leads to potential disaster both for Flash's quest and Spider-Man's safety. While this book feels like a departure from Robbie Thompson's Venom Space Knight ongoing story, for the sake of an Earthbound Civil War II crossover, it holds true enough to honor the ongoing series while giving us plenty of action. There is some convenient writing here. I question Peter Parker's motivation in instigating a conflict with Flash, but this book also gave me the most fun I've had reading a Spider-Man or Venom story in the last year or so. Gerardo Sandoval's art here is absolutely spectacular. It's highly kinetic and extremely detailed. The action is incredible, and Spidey vs. Venom has never looked this good. This series is wrapping up soon in favor of a new Venom series from Marvel now. Word is Venom's going back to his villainous ways. I'm excited to see how this wraps up and rolls over into that Venom story, so I'm going to keep on reading this book. This issue was absolutely gorgeous and left us with a really great cliffhanger that makes sure that I'm going to be picking up issue number 12. Venom Space Knight number 11 gets a 4 out of 5. Lake of Fire number 1 is a new series by Image Comics written by Nathan Fairbairn and drawn by Matt Smith. This book follows two young noblemen who are off on a quest for God and glory in the Crusades. But upon reporting to curry favor with their noble mother, their commander pairs them with some veteran soldiers and sends them on what he believes to be a fool's errand. Up north, a village has sent repeated reports of demon attacks. This nonsense should keep the boys occupied for their term of service, but little does the commander know, these demons are actually aliens that have crash landed. Fairbairn's story is wildly imaginative with colorful characters and an underutilized setting. Our plucky heroes mix well with the grizzled veterans, and the characters are given the time and interaction to truly develop before the action starts. Smith's art is a classic illustration style and really fits here and serves the story well. The action here is well depicted and visceral, with subtle but effective gore. Lake of Fire number 1 is an effective and solid first issue for this series. At $3.99 and 44 pages of story, it's hard not to recommend this book. It's interesting and original, and I'm sure to pick up issue number 2. Lake of Fire number 1 gets a 3.5 out of 5. Written by Jeff Lemire with art by Victor Ibanez, Extraordinary X-Men number 13 focuses on the mutants of X-Haven, led by Storm. The X-Men have emerged from Apocalypse Wars with Apocalypse in custody. The bad news is that he still has Colossus under his power, and he's loose in the present timeline. Also during the conflict, the powerful magical mutant Sapna has run away from X-Haven. So while Forge and Logan butt heads in X-Haven, and Iceman and Nightcrawler hunt down Colossus, Storm and Magik head out on an interdimensional quest to find Sapna. I feel that while Jeff Lemire's character work in this series has been top-notch and amazing, it's a new story arc and I feel like he's just spinning his wheels. Another splintering of the team, another time travel paradox, and another interdimensional fight with disposable villains. Apocalypse Wars, by all accounts, was meh, and this isn't heading anywhere new. I like it, but I just want more out of my Merry Mutants. Add to this the fact that this issue marks a break for Humberto Ramos, and while Ibanez is serviceable in replacement, Ramos's art has been the highlight of the series since it launched. Ibanez does a nice job with the action in this book, but the differing styles strike me as jarring. Coming into all new, all different, Marvel is one of my favorite series, and coming out of Apocalypse Wars in underwhelming fashion, it feels like Extraordinary X-Men has taken a hit in quality, but it hasn't lost me as a reader yet. I'm giving this book a 2.5 out of 5. Steve Rogers' Captain America is Nick Spencer's take on the Star-Spangled Hero, altering his history and making him an agent for Hydra. In issue number 4, Cap has been ordered by the Red Skull to kill Dr. Eric Selvig in order to tie up loose ends. But Steve has other plans. He's taken brutal measures to secure a lab facility for Selvig, and plans to utilize his knowledge of the cosmic cube Kobik. But more importantly, Steve's number one objective is the glory of Hydra, and there's only one man standing in his way, the Red Skull. Nick Spencer is crafting one of the best ongoing series at Marvel these days, and it's a direct continuation of the Standoff crossover event. We get a short follow-up with the new Quasar, we check in on Kobik and the Thunderbolts, and we also get Maria Hill awaiting her tribunal. I love that there are also implications that this is a much larger story waiting to unfold, as we get confirmation that Thanos had returned in search of Kobik. I see the whole story being wrapped up in a nice neat bow with a cosmic cube reset, just the way it started. But the fun of this story for me is in the journey. Steve Rogers is portrayed as a brutally violent, murderous badass, and it's an absolute blast to read. Spencer also does one of the better jobs at taking a tie-in that isn't exactly tied in and making it feel like it exists amidst the backdrop of Civil War II with subtle nods throughout the story. Javier Pina takes over art duties on this issue for Jesus Saez, and the transition is seamless. The book is consistent in style, and the action in this exposition-heavy issue is brutal and violent and absolutely worth the price of admission. Color here is used as an effective tool in order to denote reoccurring themes throughout the book, and it really works well. This book continues to be a must-buy for me. Reminiscent of Superior Spider-Man or the short-lived Superior Iron Man stories, watching Captain America be bad feels so good. I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 5.